Well, I do not know how Biden does this. I genuinely don't know how he does it. For those of you guys that are not already aware, Biden has actually record-breakingly opened up more permits for both domestic oil drilling and green energy production than any president, like, ever in America, thus helping to, like, add to his record-breaking job creation numbers domestically in America. And despite this, despite the fact that we were seeing more domestic oil drilling permits than ever, we're also seeing record-breaking drops in carbon production under Biden's policies. His policies, while not perfect, are actually quite green. Both sidesing climate change? No. No. Wait, guys, you know that we can't not do domestic oil drilling, right? Like, if we just stop doing domestic oil drilling, or God forbid start reeling it back, then we'd have to buy, like, all our oil from Saudi Arabia. And, yeah, no, that wouldn't be good. Yeah, we don't want to have to buy our oil from the Gulf states. Let's not. Let's not. And, like, transferring ourselves to full green is not something that can happen overnight. So, yeah. America is currently leading on oil exports, which is really good. It is good that we are exporting shit tons of oil, and it's also very good that under Biden, we are opening up more permits than ever for green energy production. And yet, at the same time, despite the fact that Biden is opening up record-breaking numbers in domestic oil drilling, he is also now in a pretty big deal headline, in my opinion, if you care about the climate. Biden has moved to limit oil drilling and mineral mining in Alaska in latest win for Greens. The Interior Department made a series of moves on Friday, putting millions of acres of Alaskan wilderness outside the reach of oil drilling and critical mineral mining, drawing praise from environmental and conservation groups and native tribes while angering Republican lawmakers. So the indigenous people are thrilled about this because this is like a big W. They don't want these pipelines and drilling operations happening on their land. The conservationists and environmental protectors are big on it because obviously we don't want oil drilling to be happening on heavily, like, nature-filled land like the Alaskan frontier, you know? So yeah, pretty based. The moves show the Biden administration continuing its efforts to win favor with the environmental voters put off by his administration's approval of the massive Willow oil project in Alaska and its defense of an oil pipeline running through the Strait of Mackinac in Michigan. As much as oil, like, pipelines and oil drilling is bad, it seems like Biden is doing the best possible to not completely fuck America's oil exports, which I know you guys are going to call me a liberal, but believe it or not, America's oil export economy not going belly up is actually a big fucking deal and needs to be maintained. And the way we lose our dependence on oil drilling and oil export needs to be carefully. Because if we don't do it carefully enough, America's economy could actually literally collapse. So, Mackinac, I don't care. It's one of those. It's one of those. It's one of those. Anyway, like I said, Michigan's not a real place. I haven't been there. We don't want to be paying the Gulf states for oil, you know? Yeah, you don't want your tax money going to Saudi Arabia or, like, Dubai or something, you know? Or fucking, what is it? Fuck. What's that other big Gulf state country? Yemen? Is it Yemen that exports a shitload of oil? Qatar, thank you, my bad. Mixed up Yemen and Qatar, I'm the worst. American geography moment. American geography lessons moment. But it comes at the expense of angering Alaska's Republican senators, including moderate Senator Lisa Murkowski, who has supported some of the administration's policies and refused to back Biden's opponent in November's presidential race, former President Donald Trump. Dude, not supporting Trump makes you a moderate Republican, I guess. Jesus Christ. I like how so much of the Republican Party and just being a conservative in America now isn't even about what your values supposedly are. They're about what guy do you base your entire personality on. Trump or, like, not liking Trump but still being a Republican. Biden said in a statement he was proud that my administration is taking action to conserve more than 13 million acres in the Western Arctic and to honor the culture, history, and enduring wisdom of Alaskan natives who have lived on and stewarded these lands since time immemorial. But Murkowski and other GOP senators held a press conference Thursday to bash the moves. There's literally no reason to, by the way. No jobs are going to be lost from this. Well, I mean, I guess technically jobs could be lost, but in the grand scheme of things, Biden has created more domestic oil jobs than any president ever. Like, literally, ever. He has also done the same for the green energy sector. So America is making more from oil exports than ever. The economy is recovering and doing better and on an upward trajectory, steeper than ever. Like there's literally no problem you could point at and say, look, Biden didn't consider this, though. He definitely considered it, you know? Let's see. It's more than a 1-2 punch to Alaska, Murkowski said. When you take off access to our resources, when you say you cannot drill, and you cannot produce, you cannot explore, you cannot move it, this is the energy insecurity we're talking about. We're still going to need the germanium, the gallium, and the copper. We're still going to need the Earl. We're not going to get it from Alaska. We're just not going to get it from Alaska. Interior Bureau of Land Management officially recommended against building the Ambler Road, a proposed 211-mile-long roadway championed by Murkowski that would have led to mining in an undeveloped part of the state. The decision, at first reported by Politico, all but kills a project initially proposed by the Ambler Metals Company and approved under the Trump administration. Hell yeah, they killed that project. Good. Big-ass fucking road through undeveloped land. The agency found that building the road would significantly and irrevocably impact resources, including those supporting the important substance uses in ways subsistence. Holy shit. I just had the biggest brain fart I've ever had. Those supporting important subsistence uses in ways that cannot be adequately mitigated. Not building it, however, strands copper and zinc deposits in the area that mining companies had hoped to develop. Ambler Metals Management was deeply disappointed in what it called Interior's, quote, politically motivated decision. Caleb Froelich, the company's managing director, said in a statement, yes, the decision to not let us destroy the environment was politically motivated. Do you notice how, like, the most evil people ever always just use insert thing was politically motivated as an excuse to shit on a good thing happening? Like, they can't explain how it's bad. They can't make an argument for how it's bad without, you know, very easily and provably lying, I guess. So they just say, this was politically motivated, as if the idea that a political thing happening in a political field and topic means it shouldn't have happened. This political policy that passed in Washington was politically motivated, thus it shouldn't have passed, is a literal line I've heard from Republicans. They don't have an argument, so they just vaguely say, it was politically motivated. Like, what does that even mean? All these things are political. Your opinions are political. This is a historic win for the Alaska Native community. Tanana Chiefs Conference Chief Chair Brian Ridley said in a statement, Quote, "It reaffirms that our voices matter, that our knowledge is invaluable, and that our lands and animals deserve protection." Interior also issued a final rule Friday that will remove the entire U.S. Arctic Ocean and 11 million acres of the National Petroleum Reserve in Alaska and nearly 3 million acres of federal waters off the Alaska coast from consideration for new oil and gas leasing. The move puts nearly half of the NPR-A's 23 million acres off limits to oil drilling. Interior Bureau of Land Management. For those who don't know, Bureau of Land Management, you'll oftentimes hear the term BLM land. It stands for Bureau of Land Management. It's public land that you can go to shoot on if you've got guns. You can hunt there. You can camp there. Interior's Bureau of Land Management, which oversees the area, said it received more than 100,000 comments on the proposal it made last year. Quote, "The majority of the area closed to oil and gas leasing was determined to be medium or low potential for discovery or development of oil and gas resources," Interior said in its final rule. The department said it will call for public comment on the possibility that it could add more land to the conservation area. The Alaska announcements represented the latest wins for green and conservation groups following Bureau of Land Management finalizing a sweeping new rule. I have to say what the acronym means, because if I just read the acronym, you guys are going to think I mean something else. A sweeping new rule on Thursday placing conservation and restoration of public lands on equal footing with energy development and mining. Environmental groups and some native tribes had pressured the Biden administration to do more to restrict oil companies' access to land in Alaska. The administration in March 2023 approved ConocoPhillips' massive Willow oil project in the NPRA, but the company said in comments the new rule would, quote, "significantly and adversely affect future proposals for new activities and developments for the project and conflict with the company's existing oil leases." Dustin Meyer, Senior Vice President for Policy at the American Petroleum Institute, a trade association representing large oil companies, called the rule yet another step in the wrong direction. "This misguided rule from the Biden administration sharply limits future oil and natural gas development in Alaska's National Petroleum Reserve, a region explicitly intended by Congress to bolster America's energy security while generating important economic growth and revenue for local Alaskan communities," Meyer said in a statement. Alaska Senator Dan Sullivan joined a group of fellow GOP lawmakers Thursday to blast the moves. Despite the Biden administration's approval of Willow, the White House has in other ways made it difficult for energy development to happen in the state, Sullivan said. Quote, "The message this administration is sending to the dictators in Iran, China, and Russia is this: we won't use our resources to strengthen our country, but you can use your resources to strengthen your country." Meanwhile, China is currently beating the absolute shit out of America and reducing carbon emissions. China puts off far less carbon per capita than America. They have way more people and all that, and higher city density and way more stuff. But per person and for their size and all that shit, they're literally putting off less carbon than we are, and they are rapidly dropping their carbon output. So they're doing far better than we are. So the idea that China is currently going ham with natural gas while America is stifling itself for no reason is a made-up fantasy. Sullivan said at a press conference Thursday, "Joe Biden is fine with our adversaries producing energy and dominating the world's critical minerals." These are countries that are currently undergoing, green energy overhauls, while shutting down our own in America. As long as the far-left radicals he feels are key to his re-election are satisfied, what a dangerous world this president has created. Remember, guys, these conservatives are desperate for you to not vote Biden because they want the world to end. These guys are in the pockets of oil barons, all right? They have been bought out a long time ago by big oil, and they will die on the hill of defending big oil. Anything good for the environment and good for humanity that's bad for big oil, they will be against it, and they will find a very clever and deceptive and insidious way to try to twist a good thing into a bad thing. Yeah. Irrevocably was pronounced weird. Is it irrevocably or irrevocably? I've heard it pronounced many different, like both those ways, so many different times, so it could literally be either way as far as I know. But regardless, I'm curious what you guys think of all of this. I feel like this is just a perfect example of Biden being awesome. And not only that, but a perfect example of why AOC is so right when she says, vote. You should organize. You should protest. You should do organization. But what conditions do you want to organize under? Do you want to organize under conditions like this, where Indigenous people were able to put pressure on the current administration and to freeing up tens of millions of acres of land to be free of any worry about mining and oil extraction? Or do you want to be under Trump's state, where he will just laugh at you and maybe have you arrested for political gain and support from his his followers? What conditions do you want to organize under? I think this right here is a perfect example of why we should want to organize under these conditions, under someone like Biden who will actually listen, will actually be impacted by protesting, thus changing his decisions and his policymaking to more align with the people who are protesting so he can get their votes. Isn't this the guy you want to be president? Isn't this the guy you want to protest, not the guy who will never in a million years listen to you? I don't know. Just seems kind of obvious to me. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like. Every single thumbs up goes a long, long way. Every like is completely free, and it boosts my channel and the algorithm, basically prodding YouTube to push my content into more people's recommended sections and into their autoplays and their sub feeds, all that good stuff. So it really does help a lot. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing and ringing the bell icon to turn on all notifications so YouTube tells you when I go live or upload a new video. And if you want to support me financially and, help me keep a roof over my head and food in my belly, then consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or supporting me financially through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, StreamElements, Patreon, or buying merch through the links down below in the description. And there's also a free fan Discord you can join. It is basically the hub of my fan base. You can click that link. It's totally free. You hop in. Super simple. We do watch parties, we do game servers, we do call-in streams. I also announce all my uploads and streams there, so you won't miss any of my content. So yeah, I hope to see you there. But hopefully you enjoyed this video, and yeah, have a good one.